same word today, if you would, rest up on your feet. I think I'm on verse 89 of the top 100, or 79, one of them. Today we're going with Colossians 3 and 12. And I'm going to read 12 twice, but that's my focus point. And it says the following. Since God chose who? To be holy, to be the holy people he loves. You must do what? Clothe yourself. Put some clothes on with what? Mercy. And what else? What else? And what else? And what else? Let's read from the NLT version. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, kindness, humility, meekness, long-suffering. It says, bearing with who? Got to put up with one another. And forgiving what? If anyone have a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave who? You. So you also must do what? Must do. But above all things, put on what? Love. Which is the bond of what? Perfection. And let the peace of God rule in what kind of heart? Your heart. To which also you were called in one body. And be what? Thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and doing what? One another in what? Songs, hymns, and what else? Spiritual songs. It's okay to be happy. You know that, right? Singing with grace in your heart to the Lord. And whatever you do in what? Do all in the name of the Lord Jesus. Give thanks to God the Father through him. You may be seated. Today I want to talk about put on your wardrobe. Put on your wardrobe. As I studied Colossians, I started seeing some similarities with Paul. Paul is trying to teach the people how to live, righteous living. And he has some principles that if you apply them to your life will get better. In Colossians 3 and 5 and 9, Paul told believers what to put off. Put off anger, put off discontent, put off all the bad things. He said, you need to take that off. Now, he's coming back again and telling you what you put on. Paul is saying, put on meekness, put on long suffering. This is what you're going to have to put on. If you notice in America, fashion is very important. In fact, we judge people by what they wear. If you see a man in a shirt and tie and a suit, you may think that he's a doctor or a lawyer or some type of businessman. If you see someone in some jogging pants with some holes in them and a tore-up T-shirt, you may not think he's a businessman. But when we see people, we judge them by what they wear. Sometimes we don't mean to, but we just judge people. That's how we do it. Paul is saying, look, you are judged by what you do. And he's saying, don't go out naked. Don't go out with no clothes on. Go out and put on these things in order for you to have peace in your heart. There's no way for you to have peace in your heart if you don't put on these things. He's trying to teach us. And God expects he expects your response to these things. My question today, when you go out in the world, what are you wearing? Because Paul is pointing out some attributes, some fashion. He's giving you some fashion tips. Some people need to be arrested by the fashion police. You know that, right? They be having orange on and then red shoes and just all over the place. But Paul is he's giving you some fashion that would never go out of style. This fashion would never go out of style. I've seen folks go from bell bottoms to baggy pants to skinny jeans and all that, but this never goes out of style. Wherever you go, you have to have on the right attire. I remember in 2000, I played in the Canadian League, played with a guy named Mike Pringle. Mike Pringle was known as one of the toughest backs in the Canadian Football League. In fact, you better have your helmet buckled on real tight when you come up to tackle him, or he's going to embarrass you in front of all the fans. Tough, strong, mighty. But one time, Mike was running the ball, and Dr. Evans, his helmet came off. But Mike didn't stop. He kept running. Mike ended up being tackled. And if you don't know anything about the Canadian Football League, they play on stuff like this, carpet. It's called AstroTurf. He ended up being tackled by several guys, and his forehead went straight into the turf with guys on top of him. He got up, his forehead was white. He ended up having plastic surgery. This is my whole point of that. When you go out in this world, you got to have the right gear on. You can't be running out here without the right gear. You're going to get injured. You're going to get hurt. You're going to have your feelings on your sleeves. You're going to be in discontent. I'm saying he's telling us before we leave, wherever we are, we have to put on the right wardrobe. Are you wearing the right thing now? Or do you have meekness? Do you have all the different things? That's what he says right here. Since God chose who? To be holy people what? He loves. God wants you to recognize you are the holy people that he chose, that he loved. I was looking at the story of the man by the pool of Bethesda, man. He was sitting out there for 38 years. The angel will come by. He's still out there. The angel will come by. He said, I'm not getting blessed. God came out. Jesus walked out. And it was not the springtime, the normal time. And he asked the man at the pool, do you want to be healed? The man said, I have no one to help me. Jesus said, pick up your bed and walk. God is saying to you right now, do you want to be healed? Are you still walking around in depression? Pick up your bed and walk. God is telling you, are you still down on yourself? Pick yourself up and walk. Sometimes we act the world's supposed to be easy. No, it's not easy. Sometimes we have to pick up our own bed. That's what he's telling us to put on. God has been so good to us. He said, put on tender what? Man, you got to give somebody else some grace and mercy too. Haven't God given you grace and mercy? He said, you got to put this on. If you don't put it on, you're not going to have it. Put on these things. He also said, put on what? Kindness. I was watching a documentary about the tornado. They was about the tornado and how it was tearing up Florida and all that, but they have certain areas that it went through that nothing happened. They said the areas that it went through that nothing happened, it was because it was in the eye of the storm. In the eye of the tornado, it is very calm. I'm saying to you, in this world, sometimes all kind of foolishness can be going on around you because the storm is around you. That doesn't mean that the storm has to be up in you. So in order to keep the storm from getting inside of you, you have to put these things on. He said, do you have on the right equipment? Do you have on the right gear? This is going to bring you peace. This is going to bring you comfort. This is going to be your source of love. Put on kindness. Put on humility. I learned a long time ago, if you don't be humble, this world will humble you. I've seen stuff come full circle. People who were younger than me and I was very good to them. They in a position of authority in my life. And that's pretty good, though, because I was good to them and they're good to me right now. When you humble yourself and you treat folks right, God he brings it full circle. Man, this word, when God is trying to give us something that's going to help us, he's giving you some gear that would never go out of style. Put on this. If you do not have some kindness in your heart, if you're in discontent, you don't have on the right gear. If you don't have peace in your life right now, it's because you got on the wrong wardrobe. If you're not humble right now and things not going right because you're not humble, it's because you got on the right gear. He's telling us before you go out, you have to put on the wrong gear. Once again, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? Put on meekness. Put on long suffering. We want things to happen all of a sudden. It does not work that way. Paul is saying, you look at other folks and look like their life they have it together. It's because they put on the right gear. And he's expecting you. You are obligated. He said, this is a commandment. Put on the right gear. You have been chosen by God, and he's letting you know you must put on the right gear. What else he said? He said, bearing with one another and forgiving one another because he done what to you? He forgave you. I got a daughter, she's 2 years old or 3 years old now, and bless her heart, and she'll make a mess on herself, and she'll walk up to me, and I'm on the couch watching the game, and she'll say, you stinky. Now, you've been in the corner over there, grunting and whatever. She got a little special spot. And you come back over there to me and say, you stinky, and turn around and run off. The sagging diaper. But that was when she was 2, but now she's 3, and she'll walk up to me and say, hey, I'm stinky. Sometimes we got to look at our life and what's going on. Sometimes you stinking it up. And Lord bless her. I mean, she has autism. We working with her and all that. But look, she gonna let me know. Now I understand it ain't all of everybody else out there. It's me. And sometimes we gotta look at our own life and say, look, what's going wrong in my life right now that I'm still stinking some stuff up? Man, he said, but all things. Look at the last attribute. He said, above all these things, put on what? I hear people say we need to have new laws and we need to have this and all that. We need People need Jesus. They need love. That's what they need. He's letting us know. God is letting us know. Put on the right stuff. How is your life going right now? Do you stay up at night tossing and turning? If you are, you have on the wrong gear. If you're walking around in depression right now, you got on the wrong gear. If you're walking around in lack of confidence, you have on the wrong gear. And the word said, meditate on this word day and night. And he says right here, let the peace of God rule in your heart. When he's talking about your heart, he's talking about your mind. In the Bible, when he's talking about your heart, he's talking about there's a change of mind, a change of perspective one must have. I was in a meeting in New Orleans yesterday, and a lady named Linda Hollander, and she was telling us yesterday that for 4 years she was in an abusive relationship. Come home, getting beat down, cursed out, physically, emotionally, just stayed in it. She said she stayed in a relationship because she did not have any self-confidence. But she said she woke up one morning and something arose up in her and said, you know what? I'm going to put on my shoes of confidence. At that point in time, she got out of the relationship. And she told us 3 months later, she met her husband. Sometimes you got to get rid of the wrong people for God to bless you with the right people. Sometimes you got to get rid of stuff. Paul said, put off some stuff. Sometimes you got to get rid of some of that mess in order for God to give you your best. If you're walking around in discontent, anger, and all, sometimes if you don't get rid of that right there, God is not going to bless you with what you need. And now she's doing well. Now she's thriving. Now her business is going up. It's because she put on confidence. And if you don't put on this world is going to beat you down. And last, it said, you need to be thankful. I don't know what's going on in your world right now, but I think somebody have it worse off than you. I don't know what's happening in your life, but somebody would love to trade shoes with you today. And you got to ask yourself, am I going to walk in peace? The only way you're going to walk in peace is you put the right gear on. You can't be saying this world stink. It stink. That's your thinking, stinking thinking. Because if it ain't one thing, it's going to be a what? You cannot wait for all things to line up and things to go according to your mind and your purpose. It's not your purpose. You know, sometime, Alfonso, I watch football. And I saw this defensive back last week just kept holding and holding. He on a receiver, he just kept holding, Andrew. The referee, the guy that enforced the rules, the umpire, he threw a flag, penalized him. The defensive back who's been holding the whole game, he just got caught right then. He's running around being all dramatic and saying, what'd I do? You know what you did. He was penalized. I'm saying in here, we have a referee, our heavenly referee. He has set the rules. And we have to play according to his rules. It's not up to us on how life should be and how things should work out. God already got it figured out. God got a plan. Is there anybody willing to trust him today? Go ahead and put on your big boy shoes and your big boy hat and big boy everything. Andrew, a guy called me the other day and bless his heart, but it is what it is. Anybody got to a point, it is what it is. You're a football coach. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, y'all was 1-9. Or then you went 2-8. And this year you went 2-8. And he wondered why he got fired. You don't have to wonder if you ain't winning. You get hired to get what? Fired. Sometimes we have to understand it is what it is and put on our big boy underwear, pick up our bed and walk on and get you another job. Anybody ready to stop throwing themselves a pity party? God is saying, do you have on the right equipment for life? Are you truly equipped for what's going on? Each and every one of us has to examine ourselves right now and be honest. If I am in discontent, if my mind is racing and going crazy, ask myself, what gear did I need to put on? She put on confidence. you look at Mr. Owen, he put on Thanksgiving. Even though he was in the hospital for a year, he's still in a wheelchair. But he told me there's no dis in his ability. So as we were walking out of the conference yesterday, we was at a hotel. And he was truck out there in the parking lot. And his truck, notice his truck, he got all kind of graffiti on there, but his truck is similar to this right here. It had equipment out there that would pick up the wheelchair and put it on the back. And so it was raining so hard, I'm like, hey, I got you. I'm going to go get your truck. I'm going to drive it through the gates and all that and park up under the pavilion so you can get it out and get in your truck and don't get wet. Storming outside. I put a hat on so I didn't want to get my hair messed up. I got to make sure I stay my wardrobe still together. But he was like, man, you'll do that for me? Yeah. I get in his truck. As I was getting ready to sit in the seat, it had a metal plate in the seat. Like, man, that's kind of uncomfortable right there. Then he had all kind of devices in there and all kind of things in there. I just prayed to God, man, we are blessed. I bagged out. I went to go get him. And he rolled up. And he hit a button and the seat came on out. And then as he got into the seat, he pulled something. He hit a button and the device came around and he hooked it up to his wheelchair and he sat there and he moved the device. And he was watching it through the mirror. I'm like, whoa. And he put the seat down, hit some more buttons and that and the other, and it picked him up and put him in the seat. Then he had to do some other devices and all. I sat there and watched in amaze, like, whoa. This man talking about his purpose was just begun. It was over 15 minutes. I was sitting there. And I'm like, man, I walked and just jumped in my vehicle and just took off driving. How many people know you're really blessed out there? Just seeing that small stuff. Anybody happy you just walked in here this morning? Come on now. Anybody happy that you can just see? We cannot take small things for granted. Man, he said, put on some Thanksgiving. See, if you start thanking God for what you got, and I said God, you won't be complaining about what you ain't got. Sometimes we just got to be thankful where we are because you got another day, you got another chance. Walk in Thanksgiving in whatever you do. And if you're not walking in Thanksgiving, you're still griping and complaining, you have on the wrong wardrobe. Get your gear right. God is saying you got to get your mind right when you walk off in this tough world. Things are going to happen in that way. With that being said, I want each and every one of you to have a peaceful, wonderful Christmas holiday. And you will have that if you put on the right stuff. You know, in the ocean, they always talk about the waves. I was on the coast not long ago, and you can look out there and the waves sometimes might get 10 feet tall. Sometimes you look out there and it'll be calm. Sometimes you look out there and you see a little white cap. But scientists say that in the ocean, when you go 30 feet below, it's always calm. This is my whole point. The shadow part is mostly dependent on the wind and the weather and the conditions, outside circumstances. I'm saying you cannot control the wind. So when you have those storms and when you have things going different ways, it might be that you're a little too shallow. It's time to go deeper into the Word. This week, are you going to have a great week? I come to tell you, you will if you put on the right wardrobe. They always say mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. If somebody walking in disarray, you're not going to steal my peace. I'm going to stay in peace today. If somebody on one, I'm going to be on God because I got on the right gear. And just like that lady said earlier, that Miss Holiday, she said, I had to put on my shoes of confidence. You know, you go in this world, there's some glass out there. Don't go out there barefoot. You might get some sand between your toes. You never know what's out there. Protect yourself and put on the right gear. And that's the Word of God. And if you be humble to others, God will be humble to you. And just like the football player who just got caught. Sometimes you got to be thankful you just didn't get caught. Instead of complaining about that one penalty, you've been doing it all day. Anybody just want to thank God for what didn't happen, that you didn't have a wreck? Anybody want to thank God that you didn't get fired? Anybody want to thank God when you turned your car on, it didn't have no gas, but it still crunk up? Sometimes you just got to thank Him for what didn't happen in life. And we serve a good God. Can anybody testify we serve a mighty God? Come on now. Put on the right wardrobe this week and walk in obedience. And if you be honest with yourself, you know what you need to put on. If you got a little anger going on, you need to put on a little meekness, right? Put on a little kindness. You got a problem with your patience, you need to put on a little long suffering. You know what you need to put on. You lacking confidence, you need to put your confidence shoes on. You walk around here crying every day, you need to put your big boy underwear on. Come on now. God is saying, put this on. Because whatever your problem is, God has a remedy and an instruction for your life. If you receive the message, let's give God a hand clap of praise. We hope you enjoyed the message today. It is now time for Tithes and Offering. There are 3 ways to give. You can use our CashApp at the bottom of the screen. You can also text, and it's at the bottom of the screen. Or if you would like, we have a Dropbox here at the church where you can drop off your giving. Now, if something was said today that moved you and you want to give your life to Christ, we would like for you to call us at 601-408-7156. We want to talk to you about your decision today.